What's up, everybody? Time for some more rSpace. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my husband for throwing out all my diet food? I, 29 female, struggled with my weight for my entire life. I weighed over 200 when I graduated high school, and it went up during college. I did not grow up in the best family life. My parents worked crazy hours, and the only food that they could feed my brother and I was junk and fast food. After I graduated from college, I decided to join a gym and eat healthier. I lost most of the weight that I gained throughout the years and plan on keeping it off. One of my friends suggested a diet plan that provides breakfast, lunch, and dinner meals that are portion-sized. There are also snacks and desserts that are provided. The meals come frozen, but once heated up, they are absolutely delicious. The plan is not cheap, but I do feel that a structured diet is best for me. When we go out to eat, I do order a meal that I enjoy. My husband tried one of the dinner meals and found it to be disgusting. He thinks that I am just wasting money on the food and could save money by purchasing meals from the store. I came home one evening after work and saw all my meals open in the garbage bin. When my husband came home, I started yelling at him that he should not have thrown away good food. He looks at me and says, "I did a good thing for you. Now you can start eating regular non-processed foods." He thinks I should not have reacted the way I did, and he was only trying to help save money. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my husband for throwing out all my diet food? Lost All Doubt 86 says, "Not the a-hole. He owes you the cost of the wasted food. Is this the only way he tries to control you? I don't want to overthink this, but where there is one controlling behavior, you can usually find a number of them." OP responds, "He has asked me to cancel my gym membership, which I never did. He also has ordered food for me when we go out." Next thought from Nobody's Baby Daddy. Husband, takes perfectly good food and throws it out. Also husband, quit wasting money. Absolutely not the a-hole. Moving on. Am I the a-hole for asking my wife to stop mispronouncing our son's name? My wife and I are Mexican American. I'm third generation and she came here when she was 8. As a result, she's quite a bit more Hispanic than me, and we've clashed at times because I'm apparently insufficiently enthusiastic about my heritage. After we got married, we agreed that we'd have 2 kids and take turns naming them. She went first and gave our daughter a fairly traditional name, Rosa Maria. Last year, our son was born. I named him Daniel. Ever since he was born, she's been calling him by the Spanish pronunciation of his name, with an emphasis on the N. Kind of like Daniel instead of Daniel, like I imagined. She also calls him Dani, while I call him Danny. She introduces him as Daniel to everyone else, and now everyone's just following her pronunciation, which is frustrating because it was my turn to name the baby and I feel like she didn't respect my choice. When I confronted her, she said she doesn't want our kids to have anglicized names because they're Mexican. I mean, it's not that I have a problem with them having Spanish names. I don't call Rosemaria Rose or Rosemary, but it was, as agreed, my turn to name Daniel, and she should respect the fact that I didn't factor in our heritage while naming him. Am I the a-hole for wanting my son's name pronounced the way I intended it to be pronounced? Edit. So quite a few of the comments say she might just have difficulty pronouncing Daniel the way I prefer, but isn't telling me. She speaks English with a very clear American accent. Her Spanish is a bit accented, but way less than, say, her parents. We've been married 5 years and together for 8. She would tell me if it was about pronunciation instead of identity. Also, she's very proud of and not the least bit insecure about her ethnicity, so she would never be too ashamed to admit she prefers her natural accent. I'm not going to rudely probe into that and try to get her to confess what it's really about. Also, I don't want to die on this hill, and neither does she. We're not even fighting about this. We have a simple disagreement about whether we should pronounce my son's name the way I wanted it to be pronounced when I choose it, or in a way that acknowledges his ethnicity. First judgment from Saronis Black. You're the a-hole. You named him Daniel. She calls him Daniel. Why do you want her accent to somehow disappear when speaking her son's name? She should respect the fact that I didn't factor in our heritage while naming him. What on friggin' earth is that, my dude? Duke Maxima has the next judgment. Not the a-hole. Your wife's response, that she simply doesn't like your choice and won't adhere to it, indicates that she's violating the deal. Summer Covers has a more in-depth thought. Not the a-hole, and I'm really surprised at all the votes going the other way. Firstly, have any of y'all actually met a person who immigrated at 8 years old before? They generally have zero accent speaking English, and in the vast majority of cases, they are way better at and more comfortable at speaking English than their native language. Secondly, pronunciation is an integral part of the name, and I don't know why we're all suddenly pretending otherwise. There are names which have multiple valid pronunciations even in the same language, and the correct pronunciation is whatever the person or their parents, if they're a baby, says it is. It would be wrong and super rude for people to call them by a different pronunciation, even if the alternate pronunciation is also a common valid one for that name. That said, I agree that maybe OP shouldn't be dying on this hill. Once the kid is older, he'll decide what he wants to be called, so it's probably not worth it to have this fight now. Next up, am I the a-hole for installing cameras without telling my housemates? I, female 20, live in a shared house with 3 other girls. I will call them Sarah, Kate, and Zoe. Kate is friends with Zoe. The rest of us aren't really friends. Whilst I'm on okay terms with Sarah and Zoe, I've never really liked Kate. We have a shared fridge where we have a shelf for each of our stuff. I have noticed that my food and milk constantly goes missing. I see multiple times a week that a large portion of my food and milk is gone. It's unbelievably frustrating, and also very time-consuming and expensive having to buy, cook new food. I always believed it was Kate because, 1, she is awake late at night, 1 to 4 a.m., I am asleep then, and I tend to notice my stuff missing in the morning. 2, I have asked all of them about it. Sarah and Zoe both deny taking my stuff, but Kate gets all defensive and says I shouldn't accuse her when I have no proof. I was complaining about it to my friend, and he said he was in a similar situation and he got a fridge camera. I thought this was a great idea. I got one, placed it discreetly inside the fridge, and decided to wait a week. Sure enough, it was Kate, rating my food daily. I confronted her about it because now I had proof. I showed her the footage, told her to never do it again, and that she should repay me for what she took. She went apeshit. She said how dare I put a camera in the shared kitchen without asking the others first, and how it's so invasive to record others in their own home. I explained the camera only recorded the inside of the fridge, not the whole kitchen, but she didn't care. She has since said she'll never be able to feel safe in her own home again. Zoe has sided with her and that they're both calling me an a-hole and saying I should have asked everyone first, even though this would have defeated the whole purpose. I said none of this would have happened if Kate hadn't been stealing my food and lying about it. Sarah has taken my side, so it's pretty tense in the house at the moment. Am I the a-hole? First judgment from 2 cents psychologist. Not the a-hole. Kate, how dare you procure evidence of my stealing to back off your charges? This is an outrage. Do not apologize. You should insist to the other roommates that Kate should apologize and pay you back, or move out. Next judgment and advice from Pieman III. More than do not apologize, don't even engage. If they bring up the camera, ask, why were you stealing from me? When will you be paying me back for stealing from me? If they say they don't feel safe, ask, why were you stealing from me? When will you be paying me back for stealing from me? If a friend comes at you, ask her, but why was she stealing from me? Don't even begin to address the camera. Don't respond to any complaints about it directly. Keep emphasizing to everyone that lives there that this is about theft and nothing else. OP replies, I appreciate this advice. I do feel like during this whole saga, Kate's original wrongdoings, the theft, have been swept under the rug. For the record, Kate has hardly mentioned the theft at all, hasn't apologized, and when I asked her to pay me back, she said she's not paying me crap. Zoe hasn't mentioned it either, and Sarah is staying out of it, although she said she agrees with me. I think it's a good idea to reshift the focus back to the original issue. Thanks. One more judgment from Talentless67. Not the a-hole. This is normal behavior for someone caught doing something wrong by trying to deflect. From your point of view, all the other housemates denied it, so either one was lying or there was an intruder coming in, which is a real reason not to feel safe in your own home. On to the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law and sister-in-laws they have to stop their game if they want to be in my unborn baby's life? Not the a-hole. I am currently pregnant with a baby girl and super excited. My husband comes from a very attractive family. I'd say genetic lottery, and mother-in-law seems to have very healthy self-esteem and passed it down to both sister-in-laws. They have always played this game, which drives me crazy. They will just go up to the other one and in a really sweet tone with a deadpan expression insult their appearance. Some examples include, keep eating that ice cream and we'll all know why when daddy bangs his secretary. Aw, is that cellulite? Mommy, oh my god, I just have to tell you, the Botox isn't working. That dress is hideous. I should have aborted you. The reason your sister has a boyfriend and you don't. They all claim this is just a game. I'd say all 3 are way above average looking and know it, so maybe it really is. When mother-in-law isn't playing this game and the sister-in-laws aren't playing dumb TikTok pranks, They are a very loving family. They are both really cuddly with their mom. They tell her everything, so maybe it really doesn't faze them, but I hate it. I have struggled with body image and I don't want this around my daughter. I've talked to my husband, but he doesn't see the issue. He says I'm being controlling. So I finally just took the plunge and told him this game is absolutely not allowed in front of my baby or any future kids. If I hear it, we leave. If we have to keep leaving, we don't come back. Mother-in-law said, "Oh my God, you're literally a crazy person." And that was it. But my husband thinks I was rude. First judgment from Finn Illusion. Not the a-hole. Don't normalize insulting people's appearance in front of my child. Seems like a pretty low bar to set. If you are trying to enforce this policy all the time, and not just in front of your child, that would be controlling. What you're doing is protecting your child the best way you know how from these toxic attitudes. J. Baggins KK weighs in. Not the a-hole. To anyone who's not an active and willing participant in this game, these comments could be devastating to even be around. It seems like it's taken a toll on you as well.